So let's
Excellent.
start by talking about the ups and downs. So let's start. What do you want to start with? Ups or downs?
We can start with the ups because there's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you got obviously you got the goals. Max Sasson getting that first one. It was out to a good start. Felt like things were going to click there. Power play. And then, of course, a couple of not the greatest goals given up by Shilovs there. Again, his issues with tracking the puck through a screen or from distance are evident again tonight. All three goals have been either a toe drag or a screenshot that have beat Shilovs up high. So obviously, Charlotte did their homework on where to shoot on Shilovs.
I thought you were talking about ups.
Yeah, no, I went right into downs. I was gonna say, other than those, Shilovs has made also some really big saves.
Oh, yeah,
That big save at the end of the second period there.
It doesn't sound like an up at all.
Was good, but getting into the power play is a huge down. Mm-hmm. We definitely got to talk about those guys.
Yeah, the power play was weak.
Despite, for one, the ice looks horrible. Bouncing pucks everywhere. That comes with 35-degree weather, I think, almost they're having outside in Charlotte right now, which, perfect hockey weather. But you can see that it has an effect on the ice conditions, really chopped up. And Charlotte has an advantage there, knowing that that's the way their ice is. They've probably been practicing on it for a couple of weeks. Whereas, the Canucks come in, have a morning skate today, see that the ice is kind of crappy. It's leading to a lot of their turnovers, where their passes aren't crisp. They're not able to kind of play the clean, structured game that we've seen them play throughout the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They're struggling to keep Charlotte out of the middle, like they did so well against Texas, and then the series prior to that as well. We had talked about it a lot that, yes, the teams were getting a lot of shots against the Abbotsford Canucks, but the quality of the shots were really low. Mm-hmm. Whereas tonight, a lot of the 26 shots for Charlotte have been coming from down the middle. The 3 goals are all inside the money zone where you want to be shooting from. So a lot of good stuff there from Charlotte, and not great stuff from us on defense. And they did try and bounce back there a little bit, but stuff we haven't really seen these Abbey Canucks struggle with. Start in the second period. Usually they come out and are much more energetic, but it took them a long time to get that first shot, which was a goal, obviously, by Nate Smith. Huge hustle to beat out that to get to that puck first and put it top corner. But man, it took a long time for that shot to come, and then it was mostly Charlotte, even with a 4-minute power play, and then 30 seconds on the power play or 40 seconds at the end of the period. Give up a shorthanded breakaway again. So I'm sure they're definitely talking about that in the dressing room right now. And hopefully they can come out and maybe capitalize here early in the third. If they can tie it up here early, they're very lucky to be in this game by only 1 goal. It could very easily be 6-2, 7-2. So for it to be 3-2 right now, I guess that could be the final up. To kind of parentheses the downs.
Yeah. I want to give a fat down to the line change with 5 seconds left that resulted in a goal with 1 second left. Like, it was very similar to the Sammy Blais situation where he puts it off the crossbar and then they all stop playing. Puck comes down, they get scored on, and it's not the exact same play, but essentially, why are you even going to change with 5 seconds left in a period when the puck is moving up the ice towards your zone? There is absolutely no reason for you to be doing that. And then they all just kind of mill about and puck ends up in their net with 1 second left to go from the Jim Benning's nephew, right? Assisting on the goal, which is more Canucks logic. Also, I wanted to point out Will Lockwood took the hooking call. So there's Will Lockwood's first, Canucks logic. There's got to be other ups. Like Nate Smith's goal was nice. Good pass out of the zone. Really
Oh, yeah.
caught Charlotte, napping on the blue line there. And even Max Sassen's goal was beautiful too. Good passing play. And Kirill Kudryavtsev getting another point. Sammy Blais with 2 points now, assisting on both goals. So we're going to give an up to Sammy Blais as well, because without him on the ice, apparently it would be a 3-0 game.
Yeah, 11 assists now in the playoffs. So that's a lot of help. He's doing the right things, plays the game the right way. I mean, you were talking with Clay about him and how he's not under contract for an NHL team, which is just crazy when you see the way he has played in these Calder Cup playoffs. He's definitely earned a shot with not only the Vancouver Canucks, but any other team that really wants to give him a chance. He would make a great addition to any third line league wide. So I'm sure his agent is fielding a ton of calls already prior to July 1st. But when July 1st rolls around, don't be surprised when you see Sammy Blais' name out there getting a deal.
Yeah, won't be surprised to hear that. All right. It was an up and down couple periods, but let's move on and talk about some other things. Vote for Hughes. So we're going to start off by talking about the Norris ballot, and I'm going to bring this up for everyone to see, because there are 7 people who didn't have Quinn Hughes in the top 5 for best defenseman this year. Boston, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Seattle, and then Quebec. So 6 Easterners, 3 Montreal based, and 1 Seattle writer. No surprise the Seattle guy leaves him off because he's just bitter that we always torch them. But at the end of the day, comes down to it that the Quinn Hughes ends up coming in 3rd in voting. You think that's probably too low for him for the performance he put in this year?
This is the hard thing. He went through a lot of injuries, didn't play the full 82 games. There's things that are working against him in that situation of, like, Makar got 30 goals and Zach Werenski had a career year, an absolute breakout year. For me personally, I probably would have put Werenski 1, Hughes 2, and Makar 3rd. For me, the Makar honeymoon's over. Yes, he's a highly skilled hockey player. He is capable of putting the puck in the net on the power play or when Nate McKinnon is on the ice. He does not generate as much offense on his own the way that Quinn Hughes pushes the Vancouver Canucks offense. Quinn Hughes led his entire team in scoring, and he was a defenseman. Without him in the lineup, they don't even have an sniff at the playoffs post-trade deadline. So everything he did this year, yes, absolutely was Norris caliber, but because he didn't have a full season, and then there were guys that did outperform him statistically, I see how the voting went. For these guys not to have him in the top 5 is nuts. Like, first of all, Adam Fox getting any Norris votes in this day and age is insane. The guy has not had a good year in probably 3 years. He absolutely fell off a cliff this year. Darlene, okay, I can get over that. Lane Hudson absolutely had a great year, but more of a Calder thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. People who left him completely off their ballots, I obviously they've never seen him play hockey. And then there's some of these guys where it's like, do they even take this voting seriously? Or are they qualified to make these votes? I mean, you have the guy in Chicago throwing a vote to Devon Taves in Colorado. Like, how do you throw it to him instead? Like, it just makes no sense, some of this voting. And when you move, into, like, when we talked about Hughes' season early on, I had said it was more of a MVP style season rather than a Norris. Like, he was perfectly capable of winning both. Had he played 82 games this year, I am confident in saying that he likely would have won both of those trophies.
Oh, funny you mentioned that because Quinn Hughes actually ends up 12th in MVP voting for the league this year. But he is behind Makar, who Makar ends up in 6th place. But Quinn Hughes does end up getting 16 points in the voting. So he does get some love out there in the top 12, which is pretty impressive. But it's still funny that even in this vote, you got Cale Makar sitting in 6th place.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, it just shows you what you have to do to prove yourself when you're in a Western market. Um, obviously they don't get a lot of eyes on them from Eastern guys who are sound asleep at 10 p.m. their time, and not staying up till 1 in the morning to watch the Vancouver Canucks play. But then what happens every single year when we see the Canucks go on an Eastern road trip? All the analysts and all the journalists are talking about how incredible Quinn Hughes is and how he's improved again. We didn't think it was possible for him to get better. And man, these Canucks have this generational player. And then you get to the voting, and they completely forget about that road trip. They completely forget about the games that he played in front of their own eyes, and they just don't even vote for him. It's crazy. Um, for me, the whole NHL awards thing has kind of become a sham anyways.
Yeah.
Like throughout the 90s, I mean, who deserved to win always won. There was no like controversy, no popularity contest. It's like, yeah, that guy was the MVP and the one goalie. I mean, Hellebuck this year, obviously the Vezina ran away with it, but overall, the NHL awards need a major, major overhaul, especially the way they award them in the voting.
The biggest rumor coming out of Canucks Nation right now is that the Canucks are the leading candidate to have uh, Marco Rossi, joining the team from Minnesota. He is a center. He scored 60 points last year. How do you feel he would fit on the Abbey Canucks as a 2C?
I mean, obviously, he's the type of player that you would want as a second line center. Still young, hasn't really had those type of minutes. However, I'd put a lot more faith in him being a second line center than I would Philip Hedl, given Hedl's health and injury history. I would put Hedl probably, 3C, maybe ready to play 2C. He had flashes of showing the capabilities of a 2C before he got his injury towards the end of the season, but we didn't get to see enough of a sample size of him to know if he's capable of shouldering that job. Whereas, you see Marco Rossi and what he's kind of done down the lineup a little bit in Minnesota. And obviously, that's great things. The other little nugget as well was the coach that helped develop him is now behind the bench with Adam Foote. So that's a little leg up, is that you kind of know who he is as a player because his AHL coach is now behind your bench. So that is a huge feather in the cap when it comes to the Canucks maybe trying to get this trade to go through, and then also being able to utilize Marco Rossi in the best ways possible.
Well, you're talking about trades there, so that brings us to our next topic because there are a number of players coming up on July 1st that will have no movement clauses kicking in. So I'll show this to the viewers. So this is an article from Canucks Army, and the guys that are coming up to no movement clause: EP40, Drew O'Connor, Phil Hronik, Marcus Pettersson, Kevin Lankinen. Are there any of those guys you see on that list that you think might be involved in a package that goes over to Minnesota?
The only one on that list, as crazy as it sounds to me, is Phil Hronik. Given what we have in blue line depth, not only in AHL but also at the NHL level, we have a lot of guys ready to step in and play the right side. Given that we now have Victor Mancini and a Tom Wielander, and Wielander has been touted as ready to go for the NHL. So realistically, of those five, I think Hronik is probably most likely to be packaged in something at the draft. However, coming back would there would probably need to be more than Marco Rossi coming back. So I would like to see, what happens. But obviously, Marcus Pettersson isn't going anywhere, having just signed the deal when he got here. Kevin Lankinen isn't going anywhere because he solidifies us in net. Petey is not going anywhere, despite what everyone thinks, him being left off of advertisements and things like that. It's just not happening. He is here to stay. He is committed to this team. He is committing to doing everything he needs to this summer to be the best he can be comes training camp. And maybe Drew O'Connor gets sent in a package just because he's expendable now, given that we do have lots of youth in the pipeline. So we'll see what happens.
We'll quickly just bust through this one. So just the center depth talk, just a little bit about PD apparently has come back, according to 32 Thoughts with Elliot Friedman. So PD is back in Vancouver after meeting with Foote, and he actually plans to stay here. Suter, they say, we're not willing to commit to the open market, nothing guaranteed, but if Suter wants more money, he's as good as gone. And then Hedl, sounds like they're looking at him as a 3C or a top 6 winger rather than playing at center. So that's kind of where those 3 centers are sitting at. So by the sounds of it, it looks like PD stays, Suter goes, and Hedl gets moved to the wing.
Potentially. Well, no, they say if Suter goes, then Hedl's going to be the 3C instead of Suter. So he's going to slot into Suter's role directly. If Suter stays, then they'll utilize him as a winger and try. And obviously, everything we're seeing here says they're bringing in Rossi. This basically is what Elliot has said. And that PD's going to be their number 1 center. Marco Rossi is going to be number 2. And Hedl's going to be number 3. And let's do this.
Yeah. Well, the little nugget that I heard yesterday, which was just an absolutely made up rumor, was the fact that Jonathan Lekermacki not playing in the playoffs right now because he's already been traded. Because that's what I was wondering. In the AHL, if there was a trade, are they allowed to trade in the middle of the AHL playoffs?
I don't think so. I think they need to be completed similar to the NHL, but who knows? I mean, it could be, but he's been pretty banged up, so I think it's more likely an injury issue and some growing pains with Lekermacki. I really don't know that they want to turf him yet, but although he is probably one of the chips that may have to go to make a deal happen, so it wouldn't surprise me. But at the end of the day, I obviously hope it doesn't happen. I'd like to see him get a chance as a top 6 winger with the big club next year.
Cool. Dustin, thanks for stopping by for the sideshow, and we'll catch you in the post game.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you then.
Nothing is perfect.